Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good morning to everyone. Today we will present our literature review and reference study for our assignment 1. My name is Nuri Irjunda binti Muhammad Zahid.
And my name is Jada Shahra binti Johan.
My name is Natika Ilyana binti Rizal Azul. Our group theme is Ecological Park Landscape Planning and Design for Climate Change, Resilience and Adaptation. And our vocabulary is carbon sink and carbon sequestration. So, what is carbon sink? Carbon sink is anything that absorbs more carbon and from the atmosphere and release through the forest, ocean and soil. How? Forest are typically carbon sink. The plants absorb more carbon than they release. When plants die, the carbon goes into the soil and microbes can release the carbon back into the atmosphere through the decomposition. Next is the ocean. Ocean do commit carbon sink, but acidification occurs when the ocean reaches the limit, and soil can absorb carbon using artificial technique. Then we move to carbon sequestration. What is carbon sequestration? It is the process of capturing and storing atmospheric carbon dioxide. Here we have two types of carbon sequestration, geologic and biologic. Geologic carbon sequestration is where the carbon is captured from power plants and industrial facilities. It's pressurized into liquid and then stored to porous rock formation underground, while biologic carbon sequestration is where the atmospheric carbon is captured by natural processes such as photosynthesis. It's stored in soil, plants, and trees. The process has huge potential to combat climate change. So, we must wonder where does this carbon come from, right?
So, carbon dioxide come from the photosynthesis and the decomposition, combustion, and also the respiration. And this carbon also have a cycle carbon like human cycle too, which is carbon dioxide is released into the atmosphere and absorbed into the earth. For your knowledge, humans are producing too much carbon and storing too little, so this is the problem. In 2020, the world set a new record for average amount of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, which is 412.5 parts per million. And this will drive into climate change because of increasing in greenhouse gases, especially carbon dioxide. And other than that, we have another biggest emission culprit, which is transportation. But why this carbon sequestration is important?
Carbon sequestration is important, especially in forestry, because forests are key to maintaining a good carbon balance. For example, the United States has significant forest land that covering 33% of the country's land, approximately 766 million acres. Moreover, there are states that have low percentage of forests, such as Nebraska and North Dakota, while high percentage of forests are Alaska, Maine, and New Hampshire. Mangroves in Malaysia and pine trees in other nations are two examples of native trees that can absorb more carbon. Hence, what are the benefits of having carbon sequestration? 1. The longer a forest is alive, the more carbon it can sequester. I had like to inform you guys that the densest carbon is in living trees, soil, and also forest floor. That is why forests are important to combat climate change and carbon emissions. 2. It can moderate runoff and reduce erosion, making it useful for flood control. 3. It can purify air and water. One tree can take about 10 pounds of pollution and produce enough oxygen for 2 people. 4. It keeps forests from becoming desert. Too much sun exposure can result from a lack of trees. And lastly, it protects resources that can be relied on. For example, medicinal plant, maple syrup, landscaping, and also honey.
So, for another stage for our president study, we chose the Seoul Central City Park. And this Central City Park is located at Incheon, Korea, and the scale of this park is about 165,100 square feet. And the users here are suitable for all ages. This city has their own aim, which is they are focusing on the landscape design features to adapt with climate change through blue-green technologies network, recycling, and efficient carbon sequestration at the area. So why this? They are creative aim.
It is because the condition at this area before. Take a look at the timeline given. You can see how the area in 2003 with such so many problems. Then they develop and solve the problem and become a successful city. So how they achieve this successful city park?
They are used the design concept of highly complete, sustainable, high technology city that would plan for a future without cars, without pollution and without overcrowded space. And they use the design principle by creating the open and green space, reduce transportation, reduce carbon emission and energy use, and also create the technology, materials flows, and water consumption, storage, and use. For example, all waste can be recycled to create another reusable energy and create high sustainable city operation. Another than that, they also apply the blue-green infrastructure in their landscape planning to concern the open space strategy, urban forest strategy, and also the environmental strategy. And not forget the water planning that including sustainable water use plan, integrated water management strategy, flood and typhoon study, and also stormwater management plan.
Next, I would like to explain about the 5 zones that are located in Songdong Central Park. First, Promenade Zone is a public space designed for a leisurely walk. It is important public resources, providing a path for exercise and recreation as well as social interaction. Second, Esplanade Zone, which is used to help mitigate the risk of natural hazards like stream bank erosion and flooding, and also protect and enhance aquatic habitats and riparian ecosystem and help to improve water quality. Third, Long Meadow Zone. It is a long grassy field with flowers growing in it. This zone increasing biodiversity by provides food, habitat for a variety of insects, birds, and also improving carbon storage and reducing atmospheric greenhouse gases. Fourth, Strolling Garden Zone. It is an Edo-era garden that designed to be attract people and protect biodiversity. Therefore, it can prevent the destruction of the ecosystem. Five, lastly, Promontory Zone, which is a high point of land or rock projecting in the sea or other beyond the line of coast.
In addition, this park has a lot of features which is major and minor feature. For major feature, we have Tribol which is the landmark of Sondo City, Museum of Language, Seawater Canal, Ecology Center, act as Nature Museum. And then for minor features, Sculpture Garden, Deer Park and Rabbit Island, Meadow as a flood control, Park Path Bridge, Tea Maze Orchard, Woodhouse and Woodland.
So next, and as you can see, this park has 40% of open and green space, which is to maximize the connection nature within the city, resident, workers, and also the visitors. The lands also converted to organic agriculture crop-free and pesticide-free zone in the agriculture landscape and will benefit biological diversity and reduce the spread of nutrients and the toxin into the watercourse and groundwater. It also create an open space design becomes a public gathering area to optimize access to sunlight views and open sky. To get a low carbon city, they plant a full of lush green and various of joyful leisure activity. They also planted 4,291 lush trees such as pine tree and 33,046 small trees including azalea, and last but not least 45,000 plants including chrysanthemum. And all of these plants was planted to form a beautiful scenery with blossom of the season and also can boost people's moods and mental well-being. And then other than that, they also came out with a creative solution which is waste management, that they are separate dry, recycle, residual, and solid waste. For food waste, is primarily collected to produce biogas for vehicle fuel, and trying to minimize amount of waste and make reuse, recycle, enable of use waste. And next, there are black water management is for minimize polluted water from the residential to the sea, and also use a green technology to converting waste residues into useful and green product utilizing energy generated from the park waste itself.
Next, for the circulation park, Sondo Plain Walkable urban design significantly different from other parks. It designed to reduce the suburban sprawl that forces communities to depend on cars. People must walk everywhere in Sondo Central City Park in order to decrease carbon emission. But there are also facilities like bicycle path, water taxi, and public transportation like buses and trains. Likewise, there are 25 kilometers of segregated bike lanes serviced by free bike rental stations that are dispersed through the city. Next, water taxi. Water taxi will transport people through its canal system. Thirdly, bus stop. These buses will run on hydrogen fuel cells and advanced technology that allows for zero carbon emission. Following that is the interaction of people and places that occurs in this park. 1. Cycle and walks friendly path. 2. Appreciate the wildlife. 3. Purity air. And 4. Taxi boats.
I would like to highlight that this park have the green infrastructure and have selection on plants and absorb more carbon. Other than that, they care about the blue carbon at the same time, want to achieve the low carbon. Despite achieve SDG that as below. 1. No poverty, good health and well-being, quality education, industry, innovation and infrastructure, sustainable cities and communities. As conclusion, Sondo Central Park City Park achieve the aim, which is sustaining landscape design feature and also adapt to climate change by using blue-green technology by providing more open green space. This is why plants are important for building sustainable urban park to combat climate change because plants can also absorb more carbon and produce more oxygen.
That's all from us. Thank you for lending us your ears. Thank you.